Hey everybody, Shane with 3MGTV. Last night I ordered myself a new PA system. It'll be here next week and I'll probably do a video reviewing it and showing you guys why I got it and why I think it's going to be good. But today I'm going to do a video on how to buy PA systems, what to think about when you're looking for one, and because you guys like lists so much, I've set it up in that way. So the first thing you need to decide when you go to buy a PA is how loud does it need to be. So when I'm talking about how loud, I don't mean how loud can you get a vocal to go through it. I mean how loud can you play music through it. Like if you mic'd up the entire band and got it going, or if you were just going to DJ. Because we need to be buying PAs that can do everything that we can need a PA to do within the constructs of our financial situation. So if you are playing like a grand piano at a coffee shop, you don't need a very loud PA because you could get by with something really small and that would get it. If you were going to be running sound for outside festivals, then you need something that is really loud with a really large amount of coverage. I also want you to think about rating your PA's loudness with regard to how loud it can get and still be consistent throughout all frequency ranges. So just because you can turn the highs up and get a laser beam vocal out of it doesn't really mean that it's going to be very effective if you also need it to thump. The next thing you need to think about is how many trips. And what I mean is how many trips from the car to the show, from the car to the thing, does it take to set it up. So let's go back to our example. If you play jazz piano at a coffee shop and you want to sing a bit or just talk, you could get by with one of these guys and put it in a backpack with a microphone and just walk in one trip. If you need to do outside sound, that's a bunch of trips. It takes a literal ton of gear. You need a trailer, you need all this stuff. So you have to say, is the money I'm getting paid, is the stuff that I'm buying all worth breaking your back to load this stuff up or not? So you need to be thinking, how loud do I need and how many pieces does it have to come in? The next question is it modular? How many different configurations can you set it up in and it be effective? So is it cool if you take your board and one solitary speaker and set that up? Can you do some stuff with that? Could you say run a karaoke show? Or you bring two speakers and the subs and everything and do a band show? Or whatever. Do you have a way that you can take all that gear you bought and all that gear that you may be carrying around and just pull out a piece or two and make something work? At this point, I'd like to say I hope you guys are all using powered stuff by now, because it is the height of hustling backwards to need one speaker and have to carry in an entire rack of power amps. Lastly is how much does it cost? Alright, so you've got to balance how loud you actually need, how much effort it's going to take to load it in, what it can do, and then finally how much it costs. And the way that you want to think about how much to spend is also in this kind of way. If you have a regular standing gig and you're going to take a PA and set it up somewhere and leave it there, go cheaper. You can afford to have more pieces, but they can be cheaper pieces because somebody may spill beers in your stuff when you're not there. And then, you know, you might be able to get the place to pay for a $300 board, but they may trip if it's a $3,000 board. Yeah? Let's say you're trying to save a bit of money, and so you're buying a whole bunch of components to get a whole bunch of volume, but they're like cheaper passive components, and now you've got the problem with like the big rack of power amps. This is a time where you might want to spend more money and get yourself something like a Fender Passport system or those Yamaha systems that put together so they all connect, and then you get one trip in the door and something for when you do smaller stuff. The big strategy and the thing to think about is to get stuff that is able to practically do everything that you might need it to do. What you don't want is to be the guy playing jazz piano who has to bring in two 215 cabinets. I mean, the way I see it, rule of thumb, if you have to put it on a dolly, it may not be what you want. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful. If you have any more PA buying tips, leave them down in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.